Hey everybody, it's Georgia Rose and I am in the soul space. How do you like my orange blouse? Somebody called it rust today. And I was like, I'm not rusty. I'm orange for the solar plexus, right? Really cool. Happy fall, happy autumn. We're starting to get a little bit of crispy weather, fresh, refreshing air in New York today, which was really, really nice. Um, so some people are on comments already saying they can't find me because I started 5 minutes late. I'm really sorry. I was on the phone with a client and I ran into the studio really quick, and Bobby was like, "Girl, you're going to give me a heart attack." But we're on now, so everything's good. So I am Georgia Rose, founder of Zenkuda Community and Zenkuda on Facebook, YouTube, and Zenkuda.com. It's a place where you can go to find positive energy in your quest for evolving and elevating your life. So every Monday night at 7 o'clock, I am here at Strong Island Television doing the Soul Space. And this is a show where we do a little astrology, a little tarot. We talk about spiritual wisdom, and sometimes we have guests. I'm going to have a lot of guests in the months to come because we just expanded our studios. Isn't that absolutely amazing? So, welcome to the show. I'm going to give you guys all a few minutes to pile in and see who's on tonight. Hopefully, I will be able to see my comments. All right, here we go. We're sharing the show. We're sharing the show. So I hope you all share it if you want and you think somebody would benefit by our time together tonight. That would be really cool. We got Aaron on. Let's see who else is here. Just got to lower this. Okay. So, yeah. So I think that we're going to have a good show. I want to talk about the new moon eclipse in Libra that's coming in and a little bit more about Libra energy. For those of you who missed last week's show, we talked about Libra quite a lot because the sun had just gone into Libra. We've got some other transits happening astrologically today. As soon as I get my cue cards right side up, I will tell you about that. So the the solar eclipse new moon in Libra is going to be at 10 degrees. So check your charts and see where does Libra fall in your charts. The way that you will know where Libra is, you can get a free chart on astro.com or cafeastrology.com. And you put in your birth date and your place of birth, and you'll get a free chart. And you can look at the chart wheel, and wherever you see the symbol for Libra, that is the house that your Libran energy is in. For me, I'm a 10th house Libra. My son is actually in Libra. I have a birthday coming up. And for me, that's great because Libra is all about diplomacy and relationships and all kinds of things. And the 10th house is the house of career. So if you have your free charts and you want me to tell you a little bit about it, just put something in the comments, or you can also call into the show tonight and we'll talk a little bit about your particular transits. So who have I got on? I got Aaron, Sarah. I have Laureen. Hey, Laureen. I've got Dawn Elizabeth, Marie, Gina Marie. A lot of people watching tonight. So this energy of the Libra solar eclipse happens on October 2nd. The exact time for the Libra new moon is at 2:49 p.m., so in the afternoon. It is also supported by a grand trine. Now, what does that mean? It means that Venus, Mars, and Saturn are all in water signs and they're forming a triangle, which is a harmonious flow of energy. So that's a really great thing for this new moon. It's going to make us feel more assertive. It's also going to heighten our responsibility and our discipline because Saturn is all about responsibility and discipline. And if you watch the show often, you probably have a little bit more of an education about exactly, what Saturn energy brings to us and things like that. So that water trine is going to help alleviate some of the choices that we have to make right now because Libra is an energy of choice. The way this cycle with the eclipses and the moons are working is when we had the Pisces full moon back in September, and you can go on my YouTube channel, I have all those videos there that I did, and they're all labeled and everything. When we had the Pisces full moon back in September, it brought in an energy of something, that was hidden because it was very much in coordination with Pluto, which is our soul's desire. So when that full moon happened, it brought up things. It gave us awarenesses of some things and some choices that we have to make. And that was towards the end of September. And now the new moon comes in Libra, and this ignites a cycle of awareness about the choice, right? The Pisces full moon ignited a revelation. It brought up something. There was something we knew, we were suddenly aware of, that we needed to change, something we want to do differently. And now with this new moon in Libra, we're going to be faced with choices. And they're not easy choices to make because this is a south node eclipse. And the south node of the moon always brings us to a place of attachment and makes it very hard for us to let go of some of the things that we've been maybe really attached to or used to, or we've attached our safety to, or our stability to. And so even though that might not be true, and those things may be restricting us, we don't like to give them up because we're in the illusion, which that Pisces full moon back in September kind of burst for us. Now we see what the illusion is, and now we also are starting to become aware of the choice we need to make. And so in this new moon this week, we're definitely going to see those choices come out. This is a time where the themes are going to be in partnerships, contracts, promises and commitments that we've made. And it will also be about things, and the timeline is for things that we began in early 2023. That's this particular cycle of the planets. So think back or look back in your diaries or your emails or even your phone. Think about what started in early 2023 for you. And where were you during that time? Was there something that you wanted to commit to, but maybe you really haven't done it all the way yet? Was there something that at that time you were thinking, I really need to walk away or become unattached to this, but you really haven't done that work yet? In this new moon, it's going to come up. So this is a time when we're going to be reevaluating our agreements, the things that we made in the last 2 years. It's going to be a time that we reevaluate agreements that we not only made with others, but also that we made with ourselves. So really think hard about that, because the negative part of this energy is Mars is squaring Uranus. And that Mars square is really going to provoke some argumentative kind of behavior. It's going to provoke some, aggressive behaviors. And when we have that, it can tend to be, let me look, I want to make sure. We have Mercury squaring Mars, and we also have a Mars square in this eclipse. So when that happens, it definitely builds up the energy to be a little more aggressive, a little more feisty. Don't forget, a lot of choices are being made right now with people, and not everybody does well with that kind of energy, right? So the other thing is that this is going to make us ready to make a choice about something. So this is very much a forward-moving energy, even though it is on the South Node eclipse, and usually the South Node is a past energy field. This is definitely an energy where it's going to want you to move forward. So you're going to start to feel that. It's going to be a decision, should I sever ties or should I recommit? That's really the way that the energy goes right now. And that's Libra energy, and we're going to talk more about that. Got some more people piling in. Hey, Joanna. Hey, Gira. How are you? So Sarah says she's a 6th house Libra at 12 degrees. So Libra in the 6th house is all about your daily activity, your routines, the things that you do on a daily basis that enrich your life and also become routine for you. So that's going to be an energy in this kind of thing. Maybe you're making choices about work or what you do on a daily basis. Could also be choices about health. Are the choices I'm making the best choices for my overall health, or am I feeling like I'm more restricting my health with some of my choices? That would definitely be a theme for you. Also in the 6th house, it could be short travel, like the distance you travel to work, or the way that my hair is driving me crazy today. Sorry, guys. Dee, if you're watching, it's hair. My friend Dee is a wig maker in South Africa, and Johannesburg. And we always talk about hair and the importance of hair. But anyway, I'm no longer distracted. For you, Sarah, that 6th house is definitely going to be about your daily routines, your health, and is something that I'm doing on the daily good for me or not good for me. In an energy with this new moon, it may also come about that you have some choices to make about travel and short distances, the way that you travel to work, and maybe the routes that you're taking to work, or if you take certain transit or your car, you'll have some issues with that. But it is definitely a new energy, and think of it as the choices that we all have to make right now. It's really the choice between a new journey or doing the same thing but recommitted to it. Maybe we have to make a sacrifice so that the commitment is more, stronger. So it's almost like I can tell you something, for instance, in my life. I kind of am a dual career person. I have this beautiful spiritual career. And then, as you guys know, I also am a real estate broker for many, many years. And, both of my careers are very serious to me. One is a passion project, and the other is a passion project in a different way. It's more three-dimensional. So right now I'm making choices on what I want to recommit to and what I want to sever. Where is it in my life that I want to do more real estate, and where is my career trajectory? And where in the spiritual career that I have in building Zencuda do I need to now harvest some things to make my commitment more real, and also sever some things that maybe have expired and passed their time? That's this new moon energy. That's the choice that we make. And probably the action and solidifying, breathing life into these potentials is not going to happen until the next moon cycle in Aries, which is when we have the final of these eclipse cycles. And that Aries energy, that Aries moon, is on October 17th. So we have a little under 3 weeks when we're going to be in this choice place. We're going to be in this in-between stage. We're going to be in an energy of, do I stay or should I go? So, and you're also seeing that come out in the world now. It's not, a coincidence that we're making a choice about our leader, the leader of the free world in the Americans right now. With our elections are November 6th, which you don't even want to know the astrology for that day. But what'll happen is we'll be in this choice place, and it's almost like a memory field, because this is the South Node eclipse, and the South Node is past life, past energy. So it's almost like we have a memory field of what we're meant to do, but we're not ready to take action until this next cycle that comes in October 17th. So there's a very thinking time. You can see all the choices that we're being forced to make in the outside world. Is it black? Is it white? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it, everything from the food that we're eating right now is coming into question, to medical things, to, as I just said, the choices of our leadership. In America, even things with school systems, women's bodies, all kinds of things that we're polarized with. So we're in this area of our brains, of our psyche, of our energy container. I want to say we're in this container of choice. And the best advice I can give to everybody watching, everyone within earshot of my voice right now, the best advice I can give you is, stop trying to make your choices on the external. Shut off the devices. Your intuition will tell you exactly what you have to do and where you need to go. There's not really a whole lot of ambivalence in intuition. Intuition knows, the soul knows. But when we're not tapped into that, that's when the choice becomes really tough. And Libra energy is all about making choices. It's about the way that we relate to everything. Libra energy is about relating to the external, the relationships we have with the relationships we have with our environment, the relationships we have with the structures we even put in our life, right? The food we eat, the places we go, the car we drive. We have a relationship to everything. That's what Libra is. Libra wants us to balance that energy. But that's not something that we can do in the external. These choices that we need to make are all about relationship and how we relate to things, but not in the sense of, I need to balance my relationship. I need to, be a doormat, or I need to give in more, or maybe I shouldn't say these things. That's a Libran complex that we run when we want to avoid the choice. So in this energy, things are going to come to the surface. That's what that Pisces full moon was all about. Now we have this beautiful Libran energy that comes in because it wants us to move towards the other authentically, be who we really are. See how the other reacts to that, see how we feel in that connection, and then go back into ourself to process it. The mistake that we make with Libran energy is that we don't let the field of energy complete. We allow the external to make the choice for us, and that's not what Libran balance is about. Libran balance is going into the connection of the external and then bringing it back so that we process it within, in our own soul space, in our own intuition, in our own authenticity, and then we become the highest octave of the Libran archetype. So Libran energy will run complexes. It will run complexes of either being too controlling, because Libra is the diplomat. It's the way we're configured between the connections that we make, relationship. So a lot of times when we're in Libran energy like this, what'll happen is we'll avoid saying what we need to say, making the choice we need to make, making the decision that we really are being propelled to make. And what we'll do is one of two things. We'll become too controlling, and we'll try and really control the environment, but through avoidance, because we don't really want to, exist in a choice. Or the second thing that Libran energy is known for is diminishing the self. And we do that because, like I just said before, we allow the external to now define us. And the true best use of Libran energy is going into connection, going into relationship, going into the field of the interaction of how we connect and configure ourselves based on what we take away from those connections and internalize. And so when we miss the step of internalizing that and allowing it to come into us and connect with it, that's when we start to run the Libran complexes of avoidance, of not wanting to take responsibility for our own fate and direction. That's very Libran. Libran will be the diplomat. It wants everyone to be happy. A typical thing is, I used this example a while back on one of the shows. Aaron said he just had a breakthrough while he's listening to the show. That's great. I love to hear that. That's my favorite thing. So typical Libran energy is you're at your family's house and there's an elephant in the room, and Libran wants to address the elephant in the room, but they'll never do it directly. They'll do it all in like what I call blind begging and subterfuge, where it becomes a very subtle thing. Like, there's an elephant in the room. Maybe, Aunt Mabel isn't wearing her shirt or something silly, and everyone knows about it, but the Libran will never say, Aunt Mabel, you forgot to put your shirt on. The Libran will say to the person next to them, have you ever gone out without a shirt? Oh, I would be embarrassed if I did that. They'll never directly go there. And so that is when it's avoidance. It's like, I have to get somebody else to do the dirty work because I don't really want to be responsible for my own destiny and fate. That's Libran energy. Or it can go in the other direction and they become too overbearing. And they'll be the one who removes Aunt Millie entirely because no one can talk about it. It never happened. I'm controlling. I don't want to have that situation of choice, so I'm just going to control it. That's the other Libran complex. So those are the boundaries, and everything's interconnected, right? Boundaries are interconnected. But what Libran asks of us, what Libran energy asks of us, is this simple thing. How can we set up an environment that is balanced? Where do I need to speak my truth? Where do I need to act my truth in a loving way? And where do I also need to be the diplomat without diminishing myself? That's the Libran complex. Libran will spend their whole life trying to balance themselves through another when they really need to take what they took from another and go home and balance themselves. That's the thing. What we do, how we act, when we're in our own agency, when is our agency threatened? When is it taken away? These are all the things that had come to the surface during that Pisces full moon, and those are Libran complexes. So now we have this energy to bring us into right action and make justice happen. Libra is justice. So I hope this is all making sense for you, because at the end, Librans want to control fated events because they don't want them to allow them to control them. So just like the Aunt Millie type of example, that Libran person, that Libran part of you, and we all have a Libra somewhere in our chart, doesn't want to be controlled by the situation that's uncomfortable. The Aunt Millie with no shirt. So they're going to do anything they can, come in the back door, down the chimney, go through the window, whatever, but they're never going to go through the front door and address Aunt Millie's shirt. And until we do that, we're not balancing our own life. We're not speaking our truth. We're not being authentic, So a Libra in the highest octave, being diplomat, may quietly walk over to Aunt Millie and whisper in her ear, Aunt Millie, can you help me in the kitchen because we need to help you get dressed? or whatever that might be. Now you've addressed it. It's not controlling you. You didn't hide it. You didn't sweep it under the rug. You didn't get somebody else to do it. You took care of it in a really loving way. So that's the Libran energy. So Libra is the opposite of Aries. That's why we have the Aries full moon on October 17th, which is going to balance out the energy. Libra and Aries axis. So in this new moon with the Libran energy, the axis is Aries. And Aries is an energy of I am here. So Libran learns that from Aries, the polarization, the connection, the interconnectedness of the balance. So think about, where do you pay attention to yourself? Here I am in my space. And how do you allow yourself to be configured through the other in a healthy way and in an unhealthy way? And where are my choices with that? And those are really the Libran complex, is to configuration through the other and the environment as we relate to them. But what is the pattern of emergence from that? Not diminishing ourselves. Because Aries is all about emergence, the opposite of Libra. Libra is all about how we relate and configure. So when you put those together, because everything is infinite energy, that figure eight, that polarity of Aries, Libra, this new moon is all about configuring ourselves through the other in a healthy way so we can emerge more authentically. Libra, Aries. So typical things that will come up depending on what house Libra is in for you is any of those things. How does that interconnectedness, right? When we sit and we're connected with another person and we're really relating, when we sit in a beautiful environment and we're really relating and feeling that energy, how that interconnectedness creates a new energy, right? If Libra's here and Aries is here and they're polarized, when we integrate that, it's a new energy. It's all new energy. So how, wherever Libra is showing up in your life, does it synthesize or separate you? Wherever Libra is in your life, are you configuring yourself through the other, going back to self to find authenticity and synthesize that? Or are you allowing your configuration with others to diminish you and separate you? And that's really the Libran complex. Energy outward from the self to the other and then back to the self. That is Libra. And that's why people don't understand what balance really is. The last part of the balance is, how does this affect my inner self? My agency is inside me, not letting the other person define us. And that's why Libran is known as the sign of the zodiac about relationship, because a lot of people with a lot of Libra in the chart, and I'm a Libra sun, we will always want to pair and do things with a buddy system, because we do have a tendency, the lower octave is to define ourselves through a relationship with other. But the reason why the universe allows that space is not to have it end there, but to have our relationship with the other come back and configure us in a more healthy way. We take a little bit of pixie dust from everyone, right, in order to grow our own pixie dust. So collaboration with the other is what we're going to do in this new moon, configuration through the other, and then back to self. As we all interact in this way, we interconnect and change each other's energy. Now, we see a lot of that happening in the outside world. That's negative, right? That interconnectedness is not balanced. We have to find the balance within ourselves. Recently, where I live, hey, Jackie, hey, Adrienne, where I live, we recently had a tragedy in the community with some young people who were in a horrific accident. And then today, a friend of mine in the astrology world is in Asheville, North Carolina, and I was seeing the pictures from that. So there's a lot of, tragedy coming in. And I started to feel very unbalanced and very nervous. And I said to myself, whoa, 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 these things happen in the world so we can configure ourselves through relationship with energy and build a new energy from it. So how can these things help you synthesize something in your life? And so I made a plan to, mourn and help my friend grieve who lost some family members in a way that felt right for me, that I knew would be good for her. And I also, put a meditation out for my friend in North Carolina. And I went into a real high octave of energy, even though there were tragedies happening. So what I did was I used the energy to configure me, but through the most authentic part of myself. I could have allowed those energies to separate me and give me anxiety all day and make me nervous and make me want to go home and pull the covers over my head. but I wouldn't have been really configuring my true self through them. So that's the energy. The Libran principle is experience as adjustment. Every new energy that's created when two energies come together means we have to adjust in some way. And we also have to make sure we're adjusting not in negative complexes, being controlling so we don't have to do our work, or being in avoidance so we don't have to do that work. Today I had to sit with myself and say, okay, you're starting to feel like really anxious about all these things going on in the world, and you can't do that. And then I heard about the longshoreman strike, which is going to hit the East Coast, and I was like, oh my God, we're not going to have any food. And your mind starts going crazy. Of course we're going to have food. We're going to have everything. But it's an example of how we configure ourselves all day long through the relationship of energy that's out there in the world and with others. And we have to make sure we're responsible enough in that configuration to synthesize it and go to our higher power, right? A lot of my friends are moving right now. I know Laureen's watching and some others. And in the past couple of years, a lot of my friends have decided to retire and move. I live in an expensive area, so people don't retire here. And it's been a lot of adjustment for me because their energy isn't there. So how would I configure that energy? I can choose to wallow in the fact that my friends aren't here, or I can make new friends because I'm authentic enough to do that. And I can also travel that now I have nice spaces to go to. So it's always a configuration and an adjustment. And when we are working with Libra energy, like in this new moon, and configuring ourselves through the other and through our relationships to environments, etc., and bringing it back to ourselves for that adjustment, we have to make sure that we are flushing out those complexes. Like maybe 10 years ago when my friends started to leave, I would have been in a woe is me. And I would have gone into a place where I'm all alone in the world. I don't have anybody, right? Or I maybe would have immediately made an impulsive decision, Aries, and gone and moved to be with friends, right? So when you're thinking about the choices that this new moon is bringing in for you and where these Libran complexes are happening in your life, think about, where do I need to flush out some complexes that I'm running that are really not the best for me? Because part of that Libran complex is also coming into an experience of fatedness, and F-A-T-E-D, fatedness, because sometimes we avoid things because we don't want to play a part in our own choice and fate. We don't want to step up and take the responsibility for that. And that's why the trine that we're having, this beautiful water trine with Venus, Mars, and Saturn, is going to help us be able to be more courageous and take more responsibility for our own fate. Because a lot of times we avoid that because it's uncomfortable and we don't want to be responsible in case we make the wrong decision. That's why Libran energy can be so indecisive. So make sure that you're definitely in an energy where you're thinking about those Libran complexes. Where am I configuring myself through environment, through other, through relationship, and what do I need to flush out so that I'm configuring myself authentically within my own agency? Because a lot of times when I'm just reading my notes, we don't want to have to go to that place of fate because of that decision. Librans notoriously procrastinate decisions. So I'm going to say hello to a few more people. Thank you. It's really not my loss. It was my friend's family. But yes, thank you. I'll send those condolences to them. And also, I just want to say that if you can't find the show, because I know a lot of people last week were having a technical difficulty because we always live stream on Facebook, but you can always go to Strong Island on YouTube, and Bobby runs the show live on YouTube as well. Also, my podcasts automatically, as soon as they're put on my YouTube channel, Zencuda, which subscribe if you're not subscribed there because you'll get the show automatically. They also go right on my website automatically as soon as they're on the playlist on Zencuda. So you have plenty of ways to find me. Also, if ever you can't find the show, if you are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or you have Alexa in your house, you can actually say, Alexa, play the Soul Space with Georgia Rose, and she'll play the show that was last week's show this week. So she's always a week behind Alexa, but I'm also on Apple Play and Spotify. You can find me there. I'll always post those links So there's no reason to get worried if you can't find me. I'm everywhere. So Aaron is a Libra second house, and a Libra second house is all about our survival. Second house in the zodiac is not just our possessions and material things and money and things like that. It's also where we set our values, because values are important to us. They matter, right? So the second house in the zodiac wheel in your astrology is the place where you have set up your complexes, your things that are very important to you, and the way that you think survival and stability should be. For instance, I'm a Capricorn second house. So structure plays a huge part in my ability to feel safe. For Aaron being a Libra second house, his survival is going to make him feel like he depends on having relationships. He's going to feel like things have to be fair. He's going to, anything that's an injustice will truly incense him. So, and that second house, eighth house axis for Libra, Aries for him is going to be this lifetime for him. His soul came here with the intention to balance relationships. It's all about relationships for a second house Libra. We went over the sixth house that Sarah has, and Sarah says she's having vivid dreams about tigers. Oh my God. Sarah, I can't believe that you said that. I had a dream the other night. This is so weird because I even went downstairs into my basement and started looking through old photographs. I had a dream the other night about something I forgot and I remembered. When I had been in the supermarket that day, and there was a cutest little girl, and she had on cow pajamas. She was like, they were cow pajamas. She had a little hat with the cow ears. It was just so adorable. And it provoked or invoked a memory for me. I remember when I was a little girl and I had tiger pajamas that were a Halloween costume. I don't know if any of you remember that. I think it was like Sears used to sell like kids' pajamas that also were their costume. I guess I was probably like 6 or 7. And I had a tiger costume. I loved this tiger costume. I just loved it. I used to wear it all the time. I remember like my mother wouldn't want me to go out in pajamas. I'd be like, Mommy, I want to wear my tiger costume. And so I remembered it. And I didn't remember it when the little girl, when I saw her. But then that night I went to sleep and I'm like, oh my God, that cow. That's why it was so cute, because I remembered my tiger pajamas. So there must be something about tigers. And then I did a meditation at my home for a couple of people just the other night. And I always bring in the jaguar from the west to bring into my medicine space, the winds of the west, the jaguar. And I remembered the tiger again. So this is definitely energy of that. Beautiful, beautiful energy. So if we're dreaming about tigers, a couple of things. First of all, tigers have stripes. So it's polarity. It's, making choices, right? Tigers are striped. And the other thing I would think about tiger energy also is that inner fire. You're coming into your own, right? Tigers are very predatory, but they also are very, very protective of their young, right? Tiger cubs. So I would think that's probably the energy, Yeah, but it was so funny because the tiger just invokes such a beautiful childhood memory. And these days, I don't remember a lot of great things about childhood. I'm doing a lot of inner child work. So when I got that memory, I was like, well, there were some things about childhood that were really, really great. So, hey, Marianne, I hope you're doing well. And I'm privileged tonight. Jackie Morrison, my beautiful, beautiful yogi, is watching. And Jackie has a beautiful studio in Babylon. So love her space. So what I'm going to do, I just want to talk a little more about the astrology, and then we're probably going to wrap up tonight. But if you have any questions about your own Libran energy or anything like that, please, please put it in the comments. So because this is a South Node eclipse, I don't want to underestimate the fact that we are really going to have issues with attachments. This is an eclipse where these choices that we're trying to make and these Libran complexes that we've been running in our life really, really are deep, deep complexes. So it's not easy to collaborate with others and then think about going back to ourselves, but that's what we have to do in this energy. Also, commitments. You're going to see in this energy, believe it or not, I'll bet you in the next little while, you're going to see a lot of people start moving in together and getting engaged. And some of that will last and some of it won't. I'm not going to say which. This is an annular eclipse, which means that you will see a ring of fire around the sun, and that will happen at 2:45. And also, I just want you to know that this is a sister eclipse. Eclipses always come in a sequence. So write down, journal what will be going on for you during this time, because The sister eclipse to this is the Aries eclipse. This Libra eclipse is at 10 degrees of Libra. Aries is the opposite of Libra. So we're going to have an Aries eclipse at 10 degrees, which will occur on March 29th, 2025. So whatever this new moon ignites, you're going to have a repeated theme in March of 2025, 29th. That's when we have the eclipse in Aries. So what are you holding on to so dearly that you can't let go of? That's the question. What are you holding on to so dearly that you can't let go of? Because you probably think all of your security is tied to it. And newsflash for you, it's probably your restriction. So get rid of it because you need to move forward. This new moon in Libra is conjuncting Mercury, which is good because that's going to help us have a step back and be a little more objective, less heart and more head. Libra also is an air sign, so we're going to be really in our heads with this new moon. Conversations are going to feel urgent, but you could also have some impatience with them. This is about a time when you want to look at consequences. Sun, moon, Libra balance. We just had the equinox, balance of light and day. So think about certain consequences that come from conversations. It can be tense because Mars is squaring this eclipse. As I said before, that can make things seem very intense, especially when we have Venus in Scorpio, which is a very intense energy. The intensity, though, isn't going to be like volatile and warlike. Mars in Scorpio is more of like a possessive energy. It's a sexy energy. It can be obsession. It's more of that kind of an energy. It can also be a little frustrating. This, because of certain aspects to other planets, this new moon isn't going to feel like any kind of completion. We're in that choice phase. So the completions are going to come on October 18th with that Aries moon. That's a very powerful ending cycle and emergence from the ending. This is a point between eras. It's a point between eras of life where we are right now. When that Aries moon comes in on the 17th, that's going to be a new phase for a lot of people. Right now, we're definitely in like the in between the eras stage. This is like make your choice about what you want your new era to be. You know, it's really interesting that what's her name, Taylor, named her tour the Eras Tour, because I was like, wow, she must have an astrologer on payroll for that one. Because that's what this whole year has been about, being in between eras of our life. This is about, of course, everything always is evolutionary growth of the soul, what your soul needs, not ego. And that's why it can be frustrating, because our soul is really speaking to us in this energy right now and will be in continuing into the end of this year. Very much emergence energy of what comes up. Sit with it, let it be revealed, because we're going to feel frustrated because we want to live from ego. It's just the way we're wired. So when we allow our soul to come in, sometimes that can feel uncomfortable and unpredictable, but this energy is going to force that. And then the last thing I want to just say about this energy is you can't avoid conflict here. Conflict will happen, whether it's mild or not. The universe wants us to go into conflict for it to be resolved. It's not giving us conflict so that we're uncomfortable and not in a good place. It's giving us conflict so that we have to look at it, have to sit in it, have to resolve it. There's a lot of healing going on right now with Chiron and Aries. Deep, deep healing opportunity here. Do not miss it, okay? Dive into the fire. Allow Pluto retrograde heading to Aquarius. It goes direct on the 12th of October. Like, allow Pluto to really talk to you and say, this is what your soul's intention is. Allow that Venus trining Saturn and Mars, empathy, compassion, healing old wounds. We have the real power right now to allow ourselves to go into choice, see where these complexes of avoidance and of control are running in our life. Where are we allowing other people and other relationships, the way we relate to something, diminish us? And where do we need to internalize it and bring it up to be more authentic and grow us and evolve us? And where is that for you in your life? That's what this is about. I mean, this time is not fooling around. Elaine, I'm glad you finally found us. Joanna McNally is on tomorrow night on Soul Searcher. You can catch her on Blog Talk Radio. She's actually online, and you can find her there. Just Google it. Joanna Garfi McNally on Soul Searcher. She's got great stuff on that show. I'm often a guest there. We're going to have Joanna on this show. We got to pick a date. I'm so excited because we have a new studio next door that we just went into. Really great stuff. So you're going to have a great new moon, guys, as long as you give yourself that time and the silence and the pause to stick out of the environment, out of all the craziness that's going on in the world, and bring down your own energy to configure from within. Keep living from the inside out, not the outside in, and you'll be fine. Dawn Elizabeth asked about barriers. For me, a lot of the barriers came into my awareness, and things that were blocks came into my awareness during the Pisces moon that we had September 25th. In this energy, your awareness may come in more. That's an ongoing theme throughout these next several weeks for us and into December. Pluto going into Aquarius, where it will be in November, after 15 years in Capricorn. It's headed there. It's going to go direct October 12th. That's an energy that wants to reveal barriers to you so your soul goes into a higher evolution. So I hope that answers your question. And yes, we will still continue to have very vivid dreams as Pisces wraps up its very long time. As Neptune wraps up its very long time in Pisces. And it'll be changing signs in 2025. So thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in. If you have more questions, PM me, DM me, or just send me an email at connect@zencuda.com. You can watch all my videos and all my shows if you subscribe to my YouTube channel on Zencuda. And I'm always available on zencuda.com for you to book a reading. That site will actually schedule it and give you your Zoom link and everything all at once. So it's a beautiful way to stay in touch with me. And don't forget to join us on our Facebook communities. Thank you so much. I'll be back next Monday night at 7 o'clock. We'll talk more about the astrology, and hopefully we'll have a viewer's night where we can pull some tarot cards. Thanks so much, everybody. Really enjoyed the show tonight. And thank you all for tuning in. Going to send up a bunch of hearts. And please, please, please share the show. Let's really enlarge this community and get more subscribers over on the YouTube page. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.